Hey, this is Gilly Woodhouse on the Osteo Business Podcast, talking all things osteo business. Here's Gilly Woodhouse, an author, speaker, award-winning business coach, and passionate advocate of osteopathy.
Hello, and today I'm joined by the lovely Laura Hathaway of the Scar Wand. Laura's also an osteopath. So welcome, Laura. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Pleasure. So, Laura, how long have you been an osteopath, first of all?
I graduated from BCom in 2015.
A while.
So
then.
8 years. Feels, 8 years. Still love it, though.
Yeah. So you have invented a Scar Wand.
Yeah. So it's a derivative of what's already out there. It's just the shape and the application which I've kind of developed by myself. So although it's not an invention, it's just a derivative of what's already out there, but available for public consumption.
Right. And how did you end up going down this road towards trying to help people with scars?
I guess through clinical experience, really. So it started off with noticing lots of musculoskeletal conditions and people having scar tissue kind of above or below the area, and being an osteopath and out of the box that we are, would kind of speak to my patients and just be like, if I throw in an extra 5 minutes, can I see if we can work and, see if we can get this moving? And I'd use the instruments I use in clinic to do that, which I did on the course. And I think everyone was a bit taken aback that you could actually work on scar tissue, particularly, surgical scar tissue above and below the site that you can see. And the feeling from that they were getting was kind of, for me, a bit shocking to watch and be like, well, how can you have a scar for 15, 20 years and not touch that scar and still have numbness and discomfort and all of this stuff that no one associated with their scar? And from that, I kind of came away and I was like, right, this needs to be out. This needs to be helping clinicians improve their patient outcomes, but also the patients and the public be able to help themselves and empower themselves and integrate their own tissues within themselves and not be scared to touch a bit of their skin because they don't know about it. So that's kind of how it happened, and I've just taken a bit of a plunge, I guess.
So just for the likes of me who don't understand exactly what's going on, what's happening with the skin and the layers beneath after there's been an injury or a surgical cut or whatever it is? What's going on?
Before you can use the wand as the scar tissue. So when you have surgery in particular, they'll stitch deeper layers, and then they'll stitch the one you can see to make that look as aesthetically pleasing as possible if they can. And the recovery takes up to a year for it to become a mature scar. Oh. There's lots of stuff you can do in between, and then that's when the scar wand would kind of come in. I don't know if that's answered your question or not, but so there's lots of healing and lots of collagen refibers, and it lays down in a very haphazard way. And what we're trying to do is mechanically break them tissues down and realign the collagen fibers so it moves better. And then if you think of it like a cling film, when you stick cling film on top of each other, it sticks. And then when you have wet cling film, it will glide over each other. Mm-hmm. And effectively, we want to mechanically break down the sticky bits of the dry cling film and mobilize it so it becomes wet cling film.
Oh, that's a great description.
It's just a nice one because it's so everyone can relate to cling film.
Visualize it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about keeping it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so what's the scar wand actually doing?
So the scar wand is breaking down them adhesions. So it creates an inflammatory response, improves blood flow, and then breaks down the tissues and desensitizes the nervous system. Because the wand it's made of stainless steel and it's very dense, it will give you lots of tactile feedback. So even as a non-anatomically trained user with, you know, not a developed sense of palpation, you'll get feedback back from the tissue that you on the scar you can see itself, plus it will pull you because of the fascial pull, and the feedback you get into the deeper layers, so the one you can see and the ones underneath. So you might be working an inch and a half away from the actual scar you can see, but you'll still be feeling lumps, bumps, all of that kind of stuff.
Ah.
Because you're working over areas. So
Okay.
yeah.
So this is going to be on YouTube and my podcast. So can you show us for the screen what your scar wand looks like?
So this is the scar wand. It fits into a quite small hand. It doesn't have any sharp edges, which was something that I wanted to make sure didn't happen, because the ones that we use in clinic have sharp edges and are quite big. But obviously to reduce the risk of injury, well, self-injury, I didn't want that to be the case. So it's got the point here allows, so the contact point for scar work allows for the most efficiency with the least amount of effort. So the force transition is quite high, and that's what gives you the feedback through the wand itself. You've got long curves here, and you can use the straight edge as well for things like the plantar fasciitis, the tendonitis, which we haven't gone into yet.
Oh,
So we'll save that bit for, I guess, a bit
multi-purpose.
later. Yeah, it is, and this is the thing, like, I don't want anyone to be scared of the scar wand. I want them to see it like a foam roller, and, you know, like you would prescribe somebody exercises and, you know, that kind of stuff. I really want it to be integrated within the treatment protocol of that patient. Yeah, that's it. There's a handle there. So the
Awesome.
little edge, the little circle is the handle, and the big curve is for a contact point, and the triangle point is the actual kind of scar work point, so to say, scar massage.
Right. Okay, so yeah, you're touching on what else it can do then. So apart from helping to diminish the appearance of those scars, tell me more.
Oh, I'm going to just correct you. So it's not, we can't yet say that it can improve the appearance of scars.
Okay.
So we haven't got the research on that yet. We're currently in the realm of improving mobility and function of the scar tissue. People have reported the change in appearance, but I can't specifically say that it will help the appearance of the scar itself. So I apologize about that.
That's all right. No, good correction, because we need to be clear about what exactly you can say it does and
Yeah,
what
and
anyone else could say it does.
well, that was the other thing, like, where does it fit in the market? Like, it's not a beauty tool. It's, you know,
No.
osteopathy isn't about that. It's about improving that function. And I think lots of people have different opinions on their scars, you know, whether or not it reminds them of a traumatic time, and every scar is caused through trauma. It's just whether or not it's planned or unplanned, and it's trying to, you know, we can't get rid of that, but what we can do is your body and you know, the biopsychosocial model is that acceptance of that scar and that scar tissue, and how we can improve that function rather than anything else. So, but yeah, so sorry about that.
No, that's good. That's good to be clear.
Yeah, other things it can do is so IASTM, so instrument assisted soft tissue massage, which is what's it derivative of. There's lots and lots of research on how it can help with plantar fasciitis and lots of other tendons, so golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, shin splints, patella tendinopathies, carpal tunnel, so lots of tendon stuff.
That's good, because I know that that's particularly difficult to sort out at times. I know my husband had trouble with plantar fasciitis in both feet different times, and yeah, the second one was really stubborn. He ended up having to have quite a bit of shockwave to sort it out. But I mean, if that implement can sort stuff out like that, then it's, you know, it's great value, isn't it? In a practice.
Yeah, and it's to work alongside it. So you've got your shockwave that's working, you know, you go for your regular sessions, but what can you do in between that can help you? And this is where it fits in, you know, like with something like plantar fasciitis, where it kind of comes in and out, and you don't know whether or not your foot likes a hard sole or a soft sole, which is also really frustrating because some like some and the others like the others. And it's being able to, sit in front of the TV of an evening and just do 5 minutes on each sole, if it's on both feet, just to kind of keep the pain barrier down. So when you go back into your shockwave therapy, it's that much more effective and that much more efficient. And the same with mobilizations, soft tissue work, working up peroneals into the calves, the soleus, gastrocs, that kind of stuff. So, it works alongside all of us, what we do.
Yeah.
But it's just giving people the power to do stuff at home that will help them.
Amazing. And does it do anything else?
No, that's it at the moment. I mean, I'll let you know if I find anything else.
Does it stir your tea? I don't know.
It might get a bit hot.
Oh, cool. So, and I know, Laura, that you've developed a cream to work alongside your scar one. So tell me about that.
So yeah, the cream, which you do get a sample pack with every one that's purchased. I wanted to make something that had skin benefiting properties that wasn't ridiculously expensive, was number one, but B was that felt nice with the wand. So in clinic, so for any of the tendon work, a water-based aqueous cream will work fine because you go through so much more of it. Whereas with a scar, you want to make sure that it's obviously got all the vitamin E, the jojoba oil, rosehip oil in it. But I need it to be a water-based cream. I needed it to be a water-based cream so that when you were working on the tissues and it was heating up, I didn't want you to lose control of the wand and lose that tactile feedback that the wand gives you. So if it was oil-based and it heats up, then it gets a bit slippery in your hands, and you kind of, you don't want a piece of metal sliding around whilst you're trying to work on something so delicate as a scar. And I use delicate in a way that's not, it's not going to rip open unless you really, really go for it, and you shouldn't be doing that anyway. So we'll go into that bit a bit later. But that's where the cream came from. It's non-fragranced, but it still smells lovely, which is amazing. The texture is, for me, exactly how I wanted it. So that took a really long time to get right, but I've managed to get the cream. The products are sourced in the UK and they're made up in Norfolk as well. So I've tried to keep it as UK based as I could for that. I like keeping it as local as possible.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So you'll get the best results using that kind of water-based cream rather than anything else.
Rather than an oil, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Personally.
So can you give me some examples of scars that you've helped, and different types of scars that you've helped? I know, for instance, you helped Ellen, who's a friend of mine who was at the IO convention the other week, and she creates websites for osteos, etc. And she, unfortunately, she didn't show me the scar on her hand before you got to work on it, but she was over the moon. It pretty much disappeared.
Yeah. So Ellen was opposite us at the IO convention, which was lovely, absolutely lovely. But she had an old scar from a childhood incident on the palm of her hand, and it was just like it felt like one stitch worth, so kind of a very small little cross. But being on the palm of the hand, obviously lots of movements, lots of finger movement, it got quite tight. We worked on that for a couple of minutes and it just loosened. And then we did it the next day because obviously it was a 2-day course. And yeah, to be fair to her, it was barely visible after the second time, the end of the second day. So we've had, where do I start? I mean, ooh, it's quite exciting. We have had scars that are as old as about 50 years old.
Really?
Yeah, we've had some lots of elbow scars, shoulder scars, cesarean sections, stomas. I worked with my daughter when she had her scar, so she had surgery at 8 months, and as soon as that had healed, she was kind of one of the reasons, I guess, this whole thing came about. So she was 8 months old, had quite major kidney surgery, and her scar was literally like, it felt like the tissues were like that.
Gosh.
where it was stitched so tight. And obviously she was 8 months, she's now 4.5, but it was just I just felt like it was so tight that it needed to just effectively just stretch and sit like that again.
So it's like the tissues were overlapping each other somehow.
Yeah, well, where they stitched it so tight, it had just grown kind of more like that. Whereas now it's much, much neater, not neater, but much more flat. And when you play with it, she just finds, she finds it funny, and she's like, "Oh, mummy, can you work on my scar?" And of course I can, darling. Like, absolutely. And the movement through her whole abdomen and even up into her chest and into her thighs, where she's grown around this scar, is just loosened up so much. So that was massive. At the London Marathon running show, we had a poor lady who kind of came in and just kind of threw an arm in my face and was like, "Will it help with this?" And I was like, "What's this?" And she just went X, and I was like, "Oh, that's quite a, like, what do you mean?" And she said, "Oh, no one should see their bone like that." Basically, her ex partner had sliced her arm with a knife, and so it's 15 years old, and she'd not touched it in 15 years. And we worked on it for about 4 minutes, because at a show I kind of only have about 4 minutes with each person, and it puckered out. So it was like that when she came in, and it had puckered right out, and it looked full of life. And she sat there and cried, and I said, "Look, don't get one. You're not going to use it. Like, let this settle down." She's like, "I need a cup of tea." I'm like, "Absolutely fine." Because of that whole emotional attachment and it being okay. And that's kind of, for me, the biggest thing. We're still doing lots of research on burns, which we've had loads and loads of response from, which has been amazing. So
burns as well.
Yeah, so I
haven't scarring, I guess, but it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, and scars from, like, cups of tea spilt on 2-year-olds that they're now kind of 30, 40, 50 years old, still having surgery to cut the tissue and get mobility back. So we've got a couple of that still, a couple of burn survivors still kind of trialing it, just to, it improves the range of motion so much, because as soon as you get some vitality into the tissue, it just moves better. Keloid scars, we've got a couple more trialing with that, because there's nothing out there for keloids at all. But there's a particular technique that you have to do with that, because if you put the wand straight on the top of the keloid scar, you're producing more collagen, and then you're like, well, do you make the keloid worse? So there's a way that we're beginning to figure out. I don't know, it's it's just me. Figuring out, like, how do you do it so that you begin to make the keloid smaller, so the inside becomes the new outside. And that's kind of where we're at the moment. But yeah, we've had results from scars that are kind of 4 months old, so ACL replacements and that kind of stuff. I've physically seen them scars before I said the go ahead to use it, because if it's too soon, you don't want to risk reopening the scar.
No.
Yeah, so it's been a very exciting journey already, and we only launched it in February, so we've been trialing it for a good while now. But the results have been fantastic, and it's the sensations as well. So the numbness, the feelings coming back, the lots of itchings going away, the discomfort and pulling on movement, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just, yeah, I'm rambling, sorry.
No,
it's just so exciting. Yeah, it's super exciting. I think that's where I kind of like go, oh, I've got this thing and I've done this thing, and with osteopathy over my career, I can help hundreds of people, but hopefully the scar one can help thousands. And that's kind of, where we're at, but it's a hard place to be.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So what else can you tell me about it? Is there anything I haven't mentioned that we need to cover?
I don't know. I'm just rambling. Yeah, I want clinicians. We can't read at the moment. Obviously, we're very new, and I don't want clinicians to. I don't want any clinics to store them and retail them. Like, we're still in such a new phase of. Just going back to scars. Jump the gun. We had a child at Hickstead who had a dog bite on her face, and it was, bless her, it was really round, and she was like 7. It was 4 years old, and she got bitten by her auntie's dog, and her nan like brought her over, And we worked on that, and this little girl, oh, her smile when she saw herself in the mirror was just heartwarming, like
Oh,
so heartwarming. And oh, it was, yeah, really, really, really special. And it's that, like, you know, it should, people need to know about that. You can work on scars and not be afraid of touching them. And I think that's massive. And yeah, so is there anything else you need to know? Yes, clinicians. So I don't want to retail them yet. Sorry. Around.
it's all right.
Because we're still in such a new phase, and I need feedback from clinicians using them. I need feedback from users using them. So I just want people to be aware that there's a product out there now that can help with scar tissue.
Yeah, because it's significant help, actually, isn't it? I mean, thankfully I don't have any scars, touch wood. But so it's difficult for me to comprehend that how annoying they can actually be. I mean, I just never thought about it. I just thought it was just a mark on the body. My son's covered in them from all his escapades at hospital. But yeah, I've just never thought about how they could be annoying and itchy, and that people tend to not touch them and things like that. So it sounds to me like it's kind of integrating that little bit of the body back in again and accepting it as okay, and it's maybe just not as horrific to them like the little girl with the bite, or
Yeah.
or just as annoying having it, that where the
It's your
feelings.
skin. It's your skin.
Yeah.
It's not foreign material. Like, it's your skin that whether or not they've replaced it through, having a skin graft or, whatever. Like, it's yours, and your body
Yeah.
knows that it's yours, but it doesn't mean to say that it moves how it should move or as
Yeah.
best as it can. And I think that for me is the biggest thing is, it's your tissue. There are a couple of times, obviously, you can't use it at the moment. We can't advertise. We can use it on burns, keloids, or hernias if there's mesh underneath because of the movement of the mesh. So there's, there's precautions that you have to take with, obviously, people that are on blood thinners. But the most important thing is with it is that you don't go hard. You're not gauging, you're not gauging anything out. You're literally touching the skin. And with the scar work and the scar massage, the lighter you touch it, the more feedback you get, which is an unusual, like, thought process. Because no pain, no gain. You're like, no, like, you need to love. Oh, it sounds so awesome. You need to love that. You need to love that tissue and really integrate it within yourself. So yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, it's a nice way to put it, actually. And it's interesting that you're saying just, a lighter touch is actually better, because you would kind of imagine you'd need to get in there and massage it all, but clearly not.
Well, you go with the lighter touch, it will pull you. You get to listen to, like, where the fascial pull's pulling you off the scar into that deeper adhesions. And then, yeah, it's just super, super light. You're mechanically breaking it down. With tendons, you put a bit more pressure on because you have to. But yeah, the rest of it is just super, super gentle touch. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Laura, where can clinicians get hold of a scar wand?
So it's at thescarone.com. But yeah, I mean, just drop me an email at info@thescarone.com and we can have a chat. I will just give people something to take away, though.
That would be
Gilly,
great.
okay? So
Yeah.
obviously you can't use a scar wand until it's a fully mature scar. But as soon as the scab falls off, there's a couple of things you can do to help reduce the risk of keloiding and improve healing process. So a silicone strip, which is a really nice thing to do. So what you do is you use a very good moisturizer once the scab's fallen off, cover it with a silicone strip, and what that means is that water doesn't leave the skin, and if that doesn't happen, then it stays in, the moisturizer stays in, and that helps the healing process. And so that's number one. And you can use them from when the scab falls off to usually just under a year. There's no research at the moment to say that they're effective post-year after, insult or injury, whatever you're going to call it. And secondly, once it's healed, again in that immature phase, so the scab's fallen off, but it's, there's no infection, there's no real redness in a sense of, anger. I'm just going to show you on here. So if this is, if your scar's in the middle, you want to like cat paw around it. So you're just going to kind of cat paw around the scar.
Oh yeah.
On the top, underneath, and then all around it. On top of it, make sure you're going on top of it. And that will, again, just to begin to desensitize the nervous system. Getting that sense of touch. And it's just a super, super light, literally like you're a cat pawing.
Gently.
Gently. And then once it's a fully healed, mature scar, so anything from 8 months to a year, you can start using the wand on it to break it down. Well, the deeper adhesions down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
Very exciting. Okay, so Laura, I have been known to do an arm twist now and again to see if we can do some sort of Gilly deal for anyone who would, a Gilly deal for anyone who'd like to order a scar wand for their practice. So what could we do?
I can give you 15% off.
Sounds good to me. I'll take it. Thank you, Laura.
That's all right, man.
So they can, well, we can put it in the show notes and we can put it on.
I'll make you a code.
Okay.
I'll send it over.
Yeah, we'll put it on there. So they can contact you, info@thescarwand.com. Or visit thescarwand.com.
There is one other thing that I forgot about, which I probably should have mentioned before. As a clinician, you can only use the scar wand on patients if you have already done an instrument-assisted soft tissue massage course. Now, luckily, and I will be writing a course, she says, to eventually, be able to qualify for insurance through my own. But your patients can use it on themselves. You can demonstrate that, but it's also very good for a clinician's thumbs.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, so they need to do a course to use an instrument anyway.
Yeah, any sort of instrument assisted tool, you'd have to do a course in that to get insured on it to protect yourselves.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. And so I'll need to, obviously, in my own inimitable fashion, chase you up about that course.
No doubt you will.
I'll give you a poke and
I'll keep resetting my inbox, waiting for that email to come through. No, it'll be early next year. Literally from last weekend, I'm just in the process of writing already because it was such a big topic that came up. But actually, I'm actually quite excited about it, and it has to be an in-person course, which is even better.
Yes.
So yeah, it will be as short and as effective and efficient as I can make it.
Brilliant.
Nice and concise.
Worthwhile. Yeah. Okay. So on Instagram, where can they find you, Laura?
At @the_scarwand.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. Well, I'm absolutely delighted to talk to you today, Laura, about that, because I think it's really exciting. And like I said, I saw you using it at the IO convention, and I just thought we need to spread the word about this because it's really helpful for those people who, like you said, either they've got a very prominent scar, or perhaps they've had it for a long time and still haven't made friends with it. It sounds like it's a great way to kind of settle it down as best as it can be and integrate it back into the body a bit more.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that I've managed to get to this point, and I'm excited that I've, for what's coming. To be honest, I think if we can just keep spreading the word, like you said, and people can just start touching the scars, and hopefully surgeons and physios that work with people 6 to 8 weeks post surgery, if they can start telling people, then by the time they get to us guys, then we'll be in a much better place. And I think the fascial work that happens and the unwinding and stuff will be brilliant. So yeah, thank you, Gilly.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for joining me today. It was
No
really
worries.
fascinating to find out more about it, and more power to your elbow, Laura.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Osteo Business Podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe on all Gilly's channels, which can be found in the show notes. Gilly's back soon with more tips, ideas, and strategies to build your thriving practice.